You pitiful earthlings, prepare to be conquered by the mighty Zorgon Dominion. The alien commander's declaration thundered across the skies of New York City, broadcast from the colossal mothership casting a shadow over Manhattan. Citizens glanced up, mildly annoyed. A few groaned. One street performer paused his juggling routine just long enough to sigh. Not again. Inside a coffee shop on 8th Avenue, 3 friends barely looked up from their lattes. Great, another Tuesday, Sarah muttered, stirring caramel into her espresso. Subway's late and now this. Can a girl get one day off without aliens trying to vaporize the skyline? Tom chuckled. Remember the Glurn invasion last month? They ran screaming after trying wasabi for the first time. Or the Threxian scouts who thought Times Square was our temple of worship, Mike added, slurping his cold brew. They offered a sacrifice to a billboard. Right on cue, a brilliant column of blue light pierced the clouds above Times Square. A platoon of Zorgon soldiers descended in a dramatic flourish, tall, scaly, with forearms and insectoid features. They strutted confidently onto the concrete and immediately collapsed. Ouch, Mike winced, watching one of them crumple like a poorly made action figure. Somebody forgot to calibrate for Earth's gravity. The Zorgons flailed helplessly, their limbs unaccustomed to the weight of their own armor. One attempted to stand, only to flop sideways into a trash can. Another screeched as a pigeon claimed his head as a perch. Sarah tilted her head. I know galactic overlords are a dime a dozen these days, but you'd think they'd at least do some recon. Tourists began snapping selfies with the groaning invaders. A street musician switched to playing a sarcastic rendition of Another One Bites the Dust. Almost feel bad for them, Tom said, sipping his latte. Almost. Outside, the Zorgon commander, now flat on his back and pinned by his own exosuit, attempted to regain dignity. This is not possible. Our intelligence indicated negligible gravitational resistance. Sarah stepped forward, kneeling beside the sputtering creature. Let me guess. Your data came from the Interstellar Travel Bureau's Earth pamphlet, the one written by the Zarnian bloggers who stayed here for 10 minutes? The commander groaned. Yeah, that checks out, she said. Welcome to Earth. Gravity's not just a force here, it's a lifestyle. Mike helped hoist another Zorgon onto a bench. You guys seriously underestimated this place. We've got gravity that turns Olympic athletes into pretzels, bacteria that eats through space-grade metal, and a weather system with mood swings. And pigeons, Tom added. Don't forget the pigeons. The Zorgons, still wobbling like confused toddlers, huddled together. Their leader looked up at the trio with something halfway between suspicion and desperation. Sarah extended a hand. Come on. There's a 24-hour diner around the corner. We'll get you some coffee, maybe a stack of pancakes. You can debrief and reevaluate your life choices. To everyone's astonishment, the Zorgon commander accepted. As the group shuffled toward the diner, the city buzzed around them as if nothing had happened. After all, it was just Tuesday. The invasion that was meant to subjugate Earth ended not in flames, but in flapjacks and espresso. By the time the news networks caught wind, the Zorgons were already learning how to walk in high gravity between bites of blueberry waffles. Within hours, Earth went viral across the galaxy. Not for its technology, not for its military, but for its gravity. The sun had barely crested over the skyline of New York City when Sarah, now freshly dubbed Earth's gravity ambassador, adjusted the lapel pin given to her by the United Nations. It was shaped like a dumbbell. As she sipped her third espresso of the morning, Tom burst into the coffee shop carrying a digital tablet. Sarah, you need to see this. He slammed it on the table. Holographic headlines swirled above the screen. Zorgon commander enrolls in Earth gym. Alien personal trainers on the rise. And gravity gains. Why Earth's fitness craze is out of this world. Is that the same Zorgon that face-planted into Times Square last week? Sarah asked, arching a brow. Tom nodded. He joined a CrossFit gym in Queens. His species grew 3 new leg muscles in 5 days. Mike, who had just returned from his newly founded Earth Extreme tourism startup, plopped down beside them. We're trending in 14 sectors across the Milky Way. The new challenge? Standing upright on Earth for a full minute. #leg day plan. We should charge admission just for walking tours, Sarah muttered. We already are, Mike grinned. Aliens are paying top credits just to jog around Central Park. Meanwhile, in Geneva, the Galactic Council had convened an emergency session. The Blorp ambassador, still salty over their failed invasion and currently nursing a stress fracture in a zero-G leg cast, growled, "This planet's gravity is a violation of basic decency." The council chair, a sentient gas cloud wearing a monocle, floated thoughtfully. Yet the humans seem to thrive in it. Their physiology adapts rather than collapses. Their daily routine includes commuting, a term that upon analysis is more punishing than most war simulations. Back in New York, a camera crew filmed Sarah leading a class of alien tourists in a beginner's yoga class on the High Line. The footage went viral, not because of her pose, but because one of the Zorgon students attempted a downward dog and promptly dislocated 2 of his 4 knees. "That's it," Mike declared. "We launch Earth Gym, Interstellar Edition." No, Sarah countered. "We do an Olympics. Let every species compete in Earth conditions. We'll see who can survive the Monday morning subway rush." Tom added, "Or office politics. Let's throw them in a team-building workshop with Diane from HR. That'll separate the real warriors from the space tourists." By week's end, Earth's gravity had become the ultimate status symbol. Rich alien heirs were hiring human personal trainers to yell motivational quotes at them. Reality shows emerged, like "So You Think You Can Stand?", "Gravity's Got Talent," and the ever-popular Alien Ninja Warrior Earth Edition. In one episode, a contestant from the methane-rich moon Glactar passed out attempting to lift a reusable grocery bag. The pinnacle of Earth's influence came when a high-ranking ambassador from the Varnaxian Empire stood up at a galactic assembly and addressed the room with trembling limbs. "Esteemed beings, I bring you greetings from Earth and lower back pain." He collapsed into his chair to thunderous applause. Sarah watched it all unfold from her coffee shop seat, sipping her brew with equal parts amusement and pride. You know what? Maybe gravity is our secret weapon. Not lasers, not tech. Just the daily struggle of not collapsing under our own body weight. Mike clinked his coffee mug against hers. To leg day. Tom raised his, too. To humanity, proving daily that standing up is a heroic act. As night fell over Earth, its reputation only rose. No longer just the gravity world. It was now the training ground for greatness, and everyone, from warlords to wandering scholars, wanted in. As the days turned into weeks, Earth was no longer just a place aliens visited for diplomacy or curiosity. It became a rite of passage. Surviving a stroll down a Manhattan sidewalk, handling a New York City hot dog with no idea what it contained, or even enduring rush-hour traffic, was now seen as an elite form of training. Across the cosmos, Earth had become a legendary testing ground for the bravest, boldest, and most slightly deranged. Alien influencers posted Earth challenge videos where they tried to do basic tasks like climbing stairs or carrying groceries in Earth's gravity. Some fainted, others wept. One Blorpan socialite passed out mid-donut bite, only to awaken seconds later proclaiming it the most spiritual experience of their life. Earth merch flooded interstellar markets with t-shirts reading, "I did 10 steps on Earth," and novelty mugs that read, "Gravity 1, me 0. The United Nations, now acting as the de facto Earth representative to the Galactic Council, struggled to keep up. Sarah, now Earth's head of gravity outreach, was constantly fielding requests from alien governments, asking how to get more buff like Earthlings. "You don't get used to our gravity," Sarah explained in an intergalactic fitness summit, standing on one leg with a cup of espresso in her hand. "You survive it. You respect it. You make peace with your kneecaps." Mike, capitalizing on the trend, launched Gravity Grind, the first human-alien gym franchise. The inaugural location in downtown LA featured treadmill ramps set at 45 degrees, Weight Room Zero, where all weights were bolted down due to accidents involving over-enthusiastic tentacle lifters, and a coffee-fueled spin class that became an overnight hit. Meanwhile, Tom hosted a weekly broadcast, Gravity Games, showcasing interspecies competitions. There were squats with toddlers on shoulders, carrying New York-style pizza boxes up 20 flights of stairs, and the ultimate test, standing in line at the DMV without collapsing. But not everything was smooth. Several alien species tried to replicate Earth gravity on their home worlds using artificial gravitational amplifiers. It didn't end well. One planetary gym collapsed into a crater after its gravity field generator overloaded. Another species accidentally created a black hole while attempting to simulate a human jog. They tried to replicate the pain, Mike said on a live interview, sipping coffee like a war-hardened general. But you can't replicate Earth's charm. The pigeons, the honking, the smell of hot dogs and rain-soaked concrete. That's the true training. Eventually, galactic regulators stepped in. Earth was officially declared a high-gravity zone, requiring alien visitors to pass a pre-entry physical and sign a liability waiver that included such gems as, "I acknowledge that stairs may be my mortal enemy." Despite the red tape, visitors poured in. Gravity Grind franchises opened in 6-star systems. Alien food blogs began ranking Earth breakfast burritos as an advanced digestive challenge. An interstellar comedy sketch featured a Zorgon trying to pick up a bag of groceries and dislocating all 4 shoulders. Sarah, Tom, and Mike became overnight legends. They were interviewed on galactic morning shows, invited to train elite alien forces, and even had a species name a new strain of coffee after them, Terran Tenacity Roast. Brewed under pressure. And yet, despite the fame and spectacle, nothing could top the joy of watching another alien step off their ship, take 2 steps into Earth's gravitational field, and promptly flop face first into the pavement. It was oddly reassuring. Because in the end, Earth's mightiest weapon wasn't its technology or weapons. It was its invisible, ever-present force that made living a daily workout, gravity. And gravity, as it turned out, was one hell of a personal trainer. By the time Sarah, Tom, and Mike had finished their 4th round of impromptu alien etiquette training, the coffee shop was no longer just a quiet caffeine retreat. It had become a bustling cultural hotspot, filled with all manner of curious extraterrestrials attempting to grasp the chaotic beauty of Earth customs. As the unofficial ambassadors of human gravity and hospitality, the trio found themselves fielding questions from a dozen different species, some vocal, some telepathic, and at least one that communicated through color changes in its skin. The latest arrival, a gelatinous being from the star system, Zarnax 12, was attempting to understand the concept of sarcasm. So when you say, "Oh, great, another alien invasion," you are not actually pleased? It asked, its form shifting from lavender to confused teal. Exactly, Sarah nodded. It's a thing we humans do. We pretend to say the opposite of what we mean, to express annoyance or irony. Fascinating, the alien replied, turning a shade of contemplative orange. Mike, meanwhile, was helping a group of Zorgon teenagers navigate Earth's music scene. The discovery of karaoke had left them equal parts confused and enchanted. One was attempting to belt out Bohemian Rhapsody, despite having no discernible mouth. Tom stood at the edge of the chaos, sipping his drink with a bemused smile as a group of interstellar tourists took turns posing under the "I survived Earth's gravity" neon sign they'd installed above the entrance. Suddenly the door burst open and a trio of Xyland diplomats stepped in, trailed by a holographic camera crew broadcasting live to half the galaxy. "Ambassador Sarah," one of them addressed her formally, "the Galactic Council has sent us to observe Earth's cultural integration efforts firsthand." Sarah blinked. You picked today of all days? She gestured toward the chaos. A blorp juggling flaming marshmallows, a Zorgon breakdancing, and someone teaching interpretive dance as diplomacy. Yes, replied the lead Xylem. We were informed Earth excels in creative communication. That's one way to put it, Tom muttered. As the Xylan cameras rolled, Mike hatched an idea. Guys, he said, sidling up to the others. We need to show them what Earth culture really looks like. Something bold, something weird, something human. Sarah narrowed her eyes. I'm listening. A flash mob, Mike grinned. 10 minutes later, the cafe exploded into choreographed chaos. Aliens and humans alike threw themselves into a perfectly imperfect dance number set to a remix of Earth's most recognizable party anthems. The Xylon diplomats froze in stunned silence as a six-limbed alien spun on its head next to an elderly human performing the worm. The holographic broadcast captured every ridiculous, glorious second. And when it was over, the lead Xylon cleared its throat, or the equivalent gill-based gesture. That was a diplomatic incident, Tom offered. Unexpectedly effective, the Xylan finished. We have never seen such passionate cross-species coordination. Sarah grinned. Welcome to Earth. As the galactic broadcast replayed the event in real time and slow motion across dozens of planetary networks, the trio watched their world go viral again. It wasn't polished, it wasn't professional, but it was undeniably human. Earth had made another unforgettable first impression. The closing ceremonies of the Intergalactic Olympics were meant to be a solemn affair, a dignified celebration of unity and sportsmanship. Naturally, the humans had other plans. As the galaxy's representatives gathered beneath a swirling nebula sky, the holographic podium lit up with the galactic anthem, a complex harmonic frequency that required at least 3 lungs to sing properly. Aliens from every corner of the universe bowed their heads in reverence, all except the humans. Okay, team, Mike whispered, bouncing on his heels beside the Earth delegation. Time to unleash the secret weapon. Sarah gave him a side eye. You promised not to embarrass us in front of the Blorpian Royal Choir. Technically, I promised not to directly embarrass us, Mike replied, pulling out a portable mic and handing it to the DJ, a floating jellyfish-like creature named Vizerp. Cue the human anthem. Before Sarah could protest, the speakers exploded with the opening chords of Bohemian Rhapsody. Gasps rippled through the galactic crowd. The Blorpians dropped their tuning crystals. The Andromedans flared into confused fractals. And Mike? Mike belted out the lyrics with passionate abandon, gyrating in ways that defied known muscle groups. It should have been a disaster. It became a revelation. One by one, aliens found themselves drawn to the raw emotion, the unfiltered chaos, the harmonic absurdity of human karaoke. The Xylari ambassador, known for his rigid diplomacy, began headbanging with his head tentacles. The gelatinous Eben poured itself into a puddle of admiration. By the final chorus, even the dignified Zorgan Supreme Chancellor had one appendage raised in fist-pump solidarity. When the song ended, the silence was electric. Then, as if the universe had decided to collectively give up on decorum, the entire stadium erupted into cheers. The humans had done it again. Karaoke, it turned out, was the true universal language. The after-party was held aboard a rotating pleasure station in low orbit around a binary star system. Alien dignitaries who had never before shown emotion were now crooning power ballads and attempting Earth dance moves with mixed success. The Epsilonian twins tried singing "Livin' on a Prayer" in perfect quantum harmony, accidentally opening a time loop that trapped them in a permanent key change until Sarah unplugged the amp. We may have just discovered the next phase of diplomacy, she muttered, tossing the smoking power cable aside. Mike grinned, watching a 3M'd Groth ambassador attempt a moonwalk. Who needs treaties when you have Tina Turner? Tom, sipping a glow-in-the-dark cocktail that pulsed with subharmonic bass, leaned in. "We're going to need a name for this. Something catchy, something diplomatic." Sarah raised her brow. "Intergalactic Harmony Initiative? Too sterile." Mike snapped his fingers. "Karaoke Catalyst." And just like that, it stuck. Within days, galactic news streams were buzzing. Earth introduces karaoke as peacekeeping tool. Diplomats swap speeches for singing battles. Zorgan Treaty signed after duet rendition of Islands in the Stream. Back on Earth, karaoke bars exploded in popularity, not just with humans, but with aliens who now traveled light years to experience the soul-venting ritual firsthand. A pop star from Venus signed a record deal with a label in Nashville. A diplomatic envoy from Tau Ceti canceled a war because their ambassador hit a perfect high note in "I Will Always Love You." Humanity had once again turned chaos into credibility, confusion into diplomacy, and they had done it with nothing more than off-key notes, dramatic lyrics, and a fearless willingness to look ridiculous in front of the entire galaxy. "Next summit," Mike declared, raising his drink as the party reached crescendo, "we're opening with Total Eclipse of the Heart." Sarah just laughed. "Only if I get to sing backup." The diplomatic halls of the Galactic Council had seen their fair share of cultural misunderstandings, but nothing could have prepared them for what happened when Earth was chosen to host the next Interstellar Peace Summit. It was to be the first time thousands of alien civilizations, each with their own traditions and biological quirks, would converge on one planet. And that planet happened to be Earth, the galaxy's unexpected social supernova. Sarah, Tom, and Mike, who had somehow become Earth's unofficial representatives to the galaxy, were once again at the center of the cosmic chaos. Their mission? To host a summit that wouldn't end in an accidental war caused by something as simple as a handshake or the color of a tablecloth. "Okay," Sarah muttered, pacing the conference room. "We have the Gron, who communicate exclusively through interpretive dance, the Xylari, who are allergic to the color yellow, and the Blurpians, who consider eye contact a declaration of war. Anyone else feel like we're playing diplomacy on nightmare mode?" Tom scrolled through a holographic guest list. "Don't forget the Azorians. Their greeting ritual involves high-pitched yodeling and covering themselves in glitter." Mike leaned back, tossing a stress ball in the air. "You know what we need? Controlled chaos. If everything's weird, then nothing's weird. Let's throw them into something so confusing that nobody knows what's normal." After hours of debate, Sarah reluctantly nodded. "Fine. Let's host the summit like a human wedding reception." The plan was as insane as it was brilliant. They chose a picturesque barn in rural Vermont, complete with fairy lights, buffet tables, a dance floor, and an open bar that stocked everything from Terran cocktails to carbonated nebula mist. When the alien delegates arrived, confusion reigned. The Gron mistook the DJ's warm-up stretches as a challenge to a diplomatic dance-off. The Blorpians wore blindfolds to avoid accidentally declaring war, and the Xylari had to be carefully escorted around any and all marigold-colored decorations. But then, something magical happened. As the first chords of an old Earth classic filled the air, a human grandmother kicked off the electric slide. The Gron joined in, naturally fluent in all things dance. The Blorpians, feeling safe behind their mirrored sunglasses, started mimicking the moves. Even the Xylari tapped along, tentatively, keeping a safe distance from anything too golden. One by one, species that couldn't even pronounce each other's names began moving together in sync. An Andromedan spun in tandem with a Terrantine. A six-limbed alien from Tau Ceti breakdanced near a crowd of giggling humans. The buffet turned into a cultural exchange of culinary madness, with dishes named things like spicy neutron stew and quantum nachos. Midway through the event, a bouquet toss, intended purely as a humorous gesture, landed simultaneously in the appendages of two longtime enemy delegates. Both parties paused, looked at the flowers, and burst into laughter. Centuries of tension evaporated in that single shared moment of absurdity. "This," Sarah whispered to Tom, watching a group of Odorians yodeling along to Bon Jovi while glitter rained from the ceiling might be the dumbest thing we've ever done. And yet, Tom replied, raising a drink, it might also be the smartest. By the end of the night, multiple trade deals had been scribbled on cocktail napkins, peace treaties were signed mid-limbo, and at least 3 new interspecies dance crews had been formed. As dawn crept over the Vermont mountains, the galactic delegates boarded their ships with hangovers, leftover wedding cake, and a deep admiration for Earth's uncanny ability to turn diplomatic catastrophe into communal celebration. The galaxy had come to Earth expecting policy. Instead, it got a party. As the Galactic Peace Summit turned wedding reception reached a legendary status across the cosmos, the demand for more Earth-style diplomacy surged. Sarah, Tom, and Mike, Earth's unofficial ambassadors of interstellar relations, found themselves at the helm of a movement that no one had anticipated, not even the galaxy's most prescient species. "Okay, so let me get this straight," Sarah said, pinching the bridge of her nose while reviewing an incoming transmission. "The Creel delegation wants to host a baby shower on Mars, and the Pluvonians insist on officiating it with their sacred bubble chant ritual?" Tom nodded, holding back laughter. "And don't forget, the Blorbians have volunteered to be the entertainment. Their jazz fusion throat singing is, unfortunately..." The Earth delegation's base of operations had officially moved to a retrofitted airbase in Vermont, now renamed the United Nations Department of Diplomatic Revelry. Inside the former hangar, diplomats floated, slithered, or hovered through meeting rooms converted into themed lounges. One room resembled a Vegas chapel, another replicated a medieval banquet hall. One particularly popular room, inexplicably, was modeled after a 1980 roller rink. At the center of it all was the Earth Experience Orientation, a week-long program to prepare alien diplomats for human social interactions. Sarah, now both a cultural liaison and improv coach, led sessions with titles like Understanding Sarcasm, It's Not Just a Vocal Quirk, and Navigating Small Talk Without Inciting War. "Remember," she addressed a group of wide-eyed Florin from Zeta 9, "when a human says we should hang out sometime, it means absolutely nothing. It's a polite fiction. Don't show up at their home unannounced." Tom oversaw physical orientation. With weighted vests and balance balls, alien officials practiced walking under Earth gravity. A training montage began to form. Creel hopping on one foot, Glorbians attempting push-ups, and a Zorgon dramatically collapsing after lifting a pencil. The soundtrack? Eye of the Tiger, remixed by an AI DJ named Carl. Mike ran PR. He managed Earth's intergalactic social media account, which now boasted 800 million followers across 36 star systems. His latest viral post? A video of a Pluvonian doing the electric slide while accidentally hovering 3 feet off the ground. Caption? "First contact, more like first dance." Amidst the madness, a new request arrived. The Galactic Council wanted Earth to host the next Universal Summit in zero gravity, on the moon. Sarah blinked. "Let me guess. They think zero gravity will level the playing field?" "That," Mike said, "and they want to see if the moon can handle 7,000 dignitaries doing the Macarena in orbit." "I already asked NASA for permission," Tom said. They replied with 3 laughing emojis and a thumbs up. Preparations began at once. Earth's nations, now fully on board with Earth-style diplomacy, scrambled to help. Lunar shuttles were retrofitted with party lighting. The International Space Station expanded its catering capabilities, and a coalition of DJs from Berlin, Lagos, and Tokyo were tasked with creating a universal playlist. The opening number? A mashup of Beethoven's Fifth, whale song, and space-age techno. At long last, the first Lunar Unity Gala commenced. The sight was astonishing. Alien dignitaries in customized tuxedos and flowing robes floated in harmony, bumping into one another with polite giggles. Moon dust shimmered in the artificial lighting. The Macarena proved a challenge in zero gravity, but the Xanthians introduced a new variant, the anti-gravina, that quickly caught on. Sarah floated alongside a Glarb ambassador, exchanging jokes through neural translators. Tom gave a motivational speech while doing somersaults. Mike filmed everything, captioning the footage. Earth, still the galaxy's weirdest, friendliest superpower. As the gala reached its peak, a surprise announcement echoed through the lunar dome. Earth was officially voted the new cultural nexus of the Milky Way. Sarah, Mike, and Tom clinked coffee mugs mid-float. "From gravity gurus to space party planners," Mike said. "Didn't see that comin'." "Speak for yourself," Sarah said, smirking. "I always knew we'd go viral." As Earth's reputation as the galaxy's go-to party planet and diplomatic hub solidified, a new challenge loomed on the horizon: the Intergalactic Cultural Exchange Program. Earth's selection as host for the first batch of alien exchange students was both an honor and a cosmic-level test of humanity's ability to educate without triggering a diplomatic incident. Sarah, Tom, and Mike, now dubbed Earth's Extraterrestrial Relations Dream Team, were tapped to lead the welcome committee and curriculum planning. Their new headquarters, a retrofitted high school building in upstate New York, complete with alien-compatible desks, translation pods, and gravity-adjusted hallways. "Okay," Sarah said, pacing before a digital whiteboard. "We need to introduce aliens to human culture in a way that doesn't terrify them, confuse them too much, or make them declare war by accident." Tom tapped at a tablet, already compiling a list of curriculum modules. "Let's start basic. Language, music, food, Earth history, minus the wars, and avoid sarcasm until week 4. Mike grinned mischievously. "Or, hear me out. We kick things off with a group karaoke night. Trial by fire. Earth style." Sarah and Tom stared at him. "Fine, week 3, Mike conceded. The arrival of the exchange students was an event worthy of interstellar headlines. Ships of every size and color descended on Earth, depositing a cavalcade of beings ranging from bioluminescent orbs and tentacled floaters to multi-limbed kinetic life forms. The school's first orientation session looked more like a cosmic zoo opening day. "Greetings, students," Sarah shouted, arms raised. "Welcome to Earth High. Please remember, no mind melding without consent, and for the love of physics, do not feed the coffee machine." Day 1 went about as well as expected. The Zarth delegation attempted to consume their school-issued tablets, mistaking them for nutritional wafers. A Flarnian tried to introduce itself via its species' traditional greeting, a sonic boom that shattered every window on the east wing. Meanwhile, a group of orb-shaped drifties kept accidentally floating through the ceiling tiles during lectures. Despite the chaos, there were glimmers of hope. The music class proved universally loved, even if alien instruments involved minor electrocution or required a minimum of 6 limbs. In cooking class, students bonded over the human obsession with fermented food. Kimchi was a hit. Problems arose during Earth History 101, when Mike attempted to explain the Cold War by using sock puppets. The lesson ended with half the class believing socks were ancient human weapons and demanding their own arsenals. By week 2, the faculty had adapted. Alien-specific accommodations were added, including a zero-gravity lounge, a salt lick room for the crystalline delegates, and a noise-canceling meditation chamber for the telepaths. One afternoon, Sarah walked into the gym to find a group of Slurbians attempting the Macarena alongside human cheerleaders. One was wearing a tutu, another had misunderstood and thought the Macarena was a combative dance ritual. "Progress," she whispered, holding back laughter. Tom organized a student council, which immediately descended into a multilingual shouting match over vending machine snack options. The compromise: universal snack tokens and an AI-operated intergalactic vending system, which promptly developed a sarcastic personality. Despite setbacks, including an impromptu black hole in the janitor's closet and a near explosion when someone microwaved an Andromedan burrito, the program thrived. Cultural misunderstandings became teachable moments. Earth memes became currency, and karaoke, a universal hit. By the final week, the students had put together a cultural showcase extravaganza. The gymnasium transformed into a swirling display of interstellar art, music, and science. The finale featured a multi-species rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody that made several observers cry, though it was unclear if from joy or sonic overload. As Sarah, Tom, and Mike looked on, the proud parents of 1,000 galactic cultures now mingling in harmony, they realized something profound. In embracing the chaos, humanity had created something beautiful. Earth High might not follow any standard curriculum, but it had become the universe's most unpredictable, entertaining, and surprisingly effective school of diplomacy. As Earth's galactic fame surged past mere novelty into pop culture dominance, it was only a matter of time before something utterly chaotic happened. And by chaotic, we mean the formation of the first interstellar influencer collective. It began innocently enough. A Zorgon exchange student named Krith, who had developed a taste for Earth snacks and TikTok dance trends, uploaded a video of himself attempting to floss in zero gravity. The video went viral across 12 star systems. Galactic teens began mimicking Krith's wobbly movements, dubbing it the zero-G wriggle. From there, things spiraled. Krith was quickly joined by his human friend Jasmine, a Brooklyn-born barista turned viral comedian whose deadpan reaction videos to alien misunderstandings had already garnered a following. Together, they created the Galactic Vibe Squad, a wildly popular, chaos-driven content team featuring humans and aliens trying Earth trends with questionable success. Tom, now acting as Earth's official liaison for cultural content exchange, a title he made up but no one questioned, watched the rise of Galactic Vibe Squad with a blend of awe and existential concern. "I'm not saying this is a bad idea," he muttered to Mike while watching a live stream of Krith attempting a fire noodle challenge, "but if he sneezes plasma again, we might need to get the fire department involved." "It's great PR," Mike replied, eyes glued to the screen. Every time an alien passes out from Wasabi, Earth's credibility goes up. Meanwhile, governments across the globe were scrambling to keep up. The United Nations issued a formal memo on interstellar content standards, which promptly got turned into a meme by Jasmine. The meme featured her sipping coffee in a NASA hoodie with the caption, "Diplomacy? I thought you said dip sauce." Alien viewers couldn't get enough. Jasmine, Krith, and their increasingly diverse team began live streaming from unexpected locations: dance-offs in Times Square, hot sauce roulette in New Delhi, moonwalking, literally, during Earth's first influencer trip to the moon. Viewers tuned in not just for the spectacle, but for the cultural chaos. One episode featured a duel between a Martian beatboxer and a Mongolian throat singer. Another showed an interspecies group trying to cook a Thanksgiving meal while deciphering the rules of football. Sarah, still acting as Earth's de facto ambassador and professional chaos wrangler, tried to maintain order. "Just please, no more cooking shows with flamethrowers. The insurance premiums are killing us." "It wasn't a flamethrower, it was a concentrated plasma torch," Krith insisted cheerfully. "And it worked." "Mostly." The Galactic Vibe Squad's influence spread faster than warp speed rumor. Merchandise lines appeared overnight. "I survived Earth's gravity and all I got was this wiggly dance shirt" became a bestseller. Pop-up cafes offering intergalactic fusion lattes began appearing in cities around the world. Naturally, imitators followed. Other planets began producing their own versions of influencer collectives, but none captured the raw, unfiltered absurdity of Earth's crew. It wasn't just entertainment, it was accidental diplomacy. Young aliens learned about Earth customs through comedy sketches. Human teens picked up Martian slang. A universal appreciation for chaotic curiosity started to bind species closer together. Of course, not everyone was thrilled. A minor rebellion broke out on Glorban 7 over a prank video gone wrong. The Galactic Council nearly held a hearing on content crimes, but Jasmine diffused the situation with a satirical apology video that included a dramatic reading of galactic bylaws while wearing a banana costume. It trended for 2 weeks. By the end of the year, the Galactic Vibe Squad had become more than influencers. They were cultural ambassadors of the absurd. And Earth had somehow memed its way into becoming the most relatable planet in the universe. As Earth's reputation as the galaxy's go-to party planet and diplomatic hub solidified, the universe's eyes turned once more to its resilient little blue star child. Interstellar intrigue was the norm now. Aliens bartered not for resources, but for VIP passes to Earth's next major celebration. Naturally, things were about to escalate. Enter the Intergalactic Cultural Exchange Expo, a cosmic convention unlike any before, intended to unite all sentient species in a grand showcase of culture, food, entertainment, and absurd misunderstandings. Earth, being the trendsetter it was, had been nominated as this year's host, and who better to manage the mayhem than the accidental heroes of humanity, Sarah, Tom, and Mike. So, Sarah began, staring at the 5-story-tall checklist that hovered in the planning dome. We're supposed to host over 3,000 alien species, each expecting their culture to be respected, represented, and preferably not accidentally insulted. Easy, Tom replied with mock confidence. We'll just invent universal etiquette. Already tried, Mike said, flipping through a holotab tab. Turns out eye contact is a marriage proposal for the Flarnock, but an act of war for the Zagurians. Also, someone put the scent-reactive tentacle folk next to the live garlic bread demonstration. Sarah pinched the bridge of her nose. Great. So Earth is about to become the center of a galaxy-wide diplomatic incident triggered by carbs. The opening ceremony was nothing short of galactic theater. A holographic light show beamed Earth's history across the stars, condensing millions of years into a spectacular 10-minute musical narrated by a break-dancing AI. It ended with a confetti explosion so powerful it temporarily knocked out a quarter of Mars's communications satellites. The crowd cheered. The Exchange Expo sprawled across continents, with regional zones themed around various cultures. Antarctica became an ice-sculpted Zen garden for aquatic species. New Delhi hosted a dance floor so massive it had its own gravitational pull. Meanwhile, New York City's Central Park transformed into a fusion food court, where space seals sizzled beside hot dog carts and Martian moss smoothies competed with milkshakes. Okay, Mike said during a live stream from Times Square, where a jazz band jammed with a group of floating, glowing blobs. This is either the greatest moment in human history or a full-scale breach of causality. Sarah waved from the background, wearing a kimono made of solar panels and holding a sign that read, "Free Earther Hugs, now space approved." Tom, meanwhile, was in Tokyo, refereeing the first-ever interplanetary karaoke battle. "You haven't lived," he told the viewers, "until you've heard a quantum lizard from Dimension 9 scream sing Bohemian Rhapsody." Despite the chaos, Earth was winning hearts across the galaxy. Sure, a few hiccups happened, like when a diplomatic banquet accidentally served the tentacled ambassadors their own sacred breeding algae. Whoops. But Sarah made amends with a teary apology speech, followed by a spontaneous interpretive dance, which apparently was the highest form of respect in their culture. As the final night of the expo arrived, Earth's skies lit up with multicolored auroras, a farewell gift from the helium-breathing sky painters of Gliese 581. The closing ceremony featured a synchronized dance number performed in orbit, with ships blinking in time to Earth's greatest musical export, a medley of pop hits, ending in a galaxy-wide group rendition of We Are the Champions. The Galactic Council, visibly moved by the success, announced Earth would be the permanent rotating host of the Intergalactic Cultural Exchange. No one objected. Some were too busy trying to replicate human street food. Others were still recovering from their first attempts at breakdancing. As the celebrations wound down, Sarah, Tom, and Mike found themselves back at their favorite coffee shop, now retrofitted to accommodate creatures with wings, slime trails, and atmospheric preferences ranging from gaseous to mildly plasma. "You realize," Sarah said between sips of a glittery espresso, "that we're now basically cultural ambassadors to the universe. And all because gravity slapped an alien," Tom added. "Correction," Mike said, raising a toast. "All because humans know how to have a good time." And thus, with laughter echoing across worlds and the scent of interstellar pastries lingering in Earth's ionosphere, the cultural overload ended. But Earth's legacy? It was just getting started.